In this video, I'm going to show you how to target search traffic with your YouTube content. Search is one of the best ways to grow, especially when you're just starting out, because a well-optimized video can rank on day one, even if it's your first upload. Now, unlike browse and recommendations, which rely on historical channel data and an established audience, search lets you compete immediately. It connects your video to a specific question, a problem, or a niche, and it puts you in front of people actively looking for your content. That means higher click-through rates, longer watch times, and the chance to outrank even much bigger creators. And search-based content is often evergreen, meaning it will stay relevant and get traffic well into the future. And this isn't just theory. I have videos on another channel with between 35,000 and 55,000 views, 17% click-through rates, and great audience retention. And also, YouTube's Vice President of Engineering, Christos Goodrow, has confirmed that search is a reliable way for new creators to reach viewers before YouTube knows who to recommend your videos to. I'll also show you proof from my own videos, including examples that continue to get search traffic years later. If you know how to leverage search properly, it makes YouTube growth much easier in the early days, while still paying off long into the future. And here's the best part. You can even target both search and browse traffic at the same time. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, you can do some of the stuff I'm going to show you using free tools, and I'm going to go through all of that. But there are going to be parts where you need VidIQ, and there really isn't any way around that, because it gives you certain stats that you just don't have access to in any other way. Now, if you don't have this fantastic tool already, I suggest that you at least install the free version. But even then, you're going to be slightly limited, and to unlock the full potential, you're going to need the paid version. Now, at $16 a month, I think that if you're serious about your channel growth, it's well worth the investment, as I'm going to show you in this video. I have the paid version, of course, and I wouldn't recommend anything that I don't use myself. If you do want to grab it, I have a link in the description from which I might receive a small commission at no extra cost to you. So if you want to support my work here on the channel, then this is a great way to do that. So go and grab VidIQ in whatever form you're going to do it, and let's get started. So something you really need to think about before we start is that each of your videos is like an asset. I like to think of them as a fishing hook in the water. Now, if you have one hook and one type of bait, then yes, you can put that in the water and you might catch something. But the likelihood is that the more hooks you have in the water and the more different types of bait you have, the more likely you are to catch something. Now, if you turn that into a thought about your YouTube channel, then what you need to consider is each one of your videos has the potential to hook in subscribers. And especially at the start, that's super important, because you need to build that core audience for YouTube to understand who you're targeting and who your audience is. So by having multiple videos out there, each targeting specific things within the same niche, you're going to have a much better chance at building up that subscriber base. Now, also what I need you to think about before we start as well is, who is your ideal subscriber? Who is your audience? Because you need to know this in order to know what you're going to target, because otherwise you're going to end up targeting stuff outside of your niche. And yes, you may attract people in then, but they're not likely to be interested in the rest of your content if you're attracting them from something completely unrelated. So take a moment, and it's really important that you do this, to just write down a brief description of who your ideal audience would be. Okay, so once we've done that, we can get started. Okay, so over on YouTube then, what we want to do is we want to come up with a broad search term that we can use within our niche, that we can start doing some keyword research on. So, for example, I was talking about cooking. So if we type in how to cook, these are what people are searching for that are closest to the term that we've searched for. And these are suggestions from YouTube, but these are ranked with the top or most volume at the top and the lowest volume at the bottom. As soon as we start typing, we get these suggestions. Now, obviously, all of these are good suggestions because these are things that people are actually searching for. But I'm going to branch out a little bit and say, okay, I don't know, how to cook soup, right? Or you can put how to cook S, and then you'll get everything to do with S. How to cook tea, how to cook everything that begins with T. Okay, so we've got an action phrase here, how to cook. And then what we're doing is we're targeting specific letters. So you can go through the entire alphabet with this, and you can come up with tons of ideas for videos. But what you can also do is, if you have a word like cook, if you go before that word and you type a letter like A, let's say underscore, and then a space, you'll get some different terms which begin with or are preceded by the letter that you've typed in. So a cookie god diamond factory, I don't know what that is, it sounds like something from Minecraft. We can put in bake, for example, underscore cook, bake cookies. There we go, look. So you can see the type of terms that people are using before a word. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Anyway, what I'm going to go back to then is how to cook, and I'm going to try soup. Okay. Now, strangely, if we look over here, now this is VidIQ. This is where VidIQ comes in invaluable, and it's very hard to do this stuff without it. What we get is a score, and we've got an overall score of medium search volume. So this term, how to cook soup, is being searched for, but it has very low competition in the keyword phrases. So what that's saying is that within these titles of these videos, how to cook soup is not featuring. So YouTube's trying to give you the closest version that it can to what you've searched for. Now, if we go over quickly to another tab here, if I search how to organize your YouTube video ideas, which comes up with an overall score of 60, so a high score with average 50% basically search volume, but low competition. This is actually a really good search term. And this is how I am appearing number 2 in this, for this search term, which is a really good search term to target. And there's only one video above me. And the reason I'm ranking so high here, because this is a sponsored advert or whatever, this is the only video, 354,000 subscribers, that's ranking above me. And the reason I'm appearing so high is because my search term matches the term that I've typed in here that people are actually looking for. And I've put that in my title. So check this out, how to search ideas free. Oh, look, now I am the #1 search result. Now, that is not a good search term, but what I'm trying to show you here is that the specific thing that you search for, YouTube is going to try and show you the most relevant results based on that. And you can clearly see that I am the most relevant result based on that. Okay, so this works, right? I'm above channels with 977,000 subscribers. And all of these videos here, I'm appearing above them when people are searching for this specific term. And let's go back. Now this can vary depending on, oh, now I'm #1. So what I want you to understand here is I am ranking #1 for this high quality search term because I've put it in my title and I've put it somewhat in my description. I didn't even optimize this video for search that well. I did consider the title, but other than that, I didn't do too much. So I'm going to show you a lot more in this video. But if this doesn't show you it works, I don't know what does. Okay, because I'm outranking all of these people with almost 1 million subscribers. Vanessa Lau. I mean, like, come on. Yeah, so it works. Let's go back to our chicken soup or our soup or whatever it is. How to cook soup. Okay, this is a decent search term. We could go with that right now, but I also want to try some other things. So let's try winter soup recipe. What am I doing? Winter soup recipes. There we go. That'll do. Now, here again, look, we have a 57 score, We have average, again, volume, which is good, low competition. So winter soup recipes, that's something that's coming up now. It's coming towards winter, right? People are going to start to search for this. And you can see the term is being searched for, but it isn't being fulfilled. Now, if we then put winter soup recipe, let's just change it to recipe, goes down slightly the score. So we could target either a single recipe or multiple recipes. Let's take that over to VidIQ and do some searching there. So I've typed in our winter soup recipe, and as we can expect, we have the same score here. We've also got some other options here. Look, we've got lentil soup recipe is trending very high this month. Again, maybe telling us that we're onto something with our chicken soup recipe, our winter soup recipe, right? Soup recipe is also trending higher, 100% more this month. How to make soup is also trending higher. So what this is telling us is that this is an up and coming topic that we can target, and we really only need winter soup recipe in our title, and then we can add something to that to enhance that title to make it even better. Now what we can do in VidIQ is we can click on various different options here to get some other ideas. So if we click related keywords, winter soup recipe, as we saw, low competition, good score overall. Here's one, chicken soup, who's doing quite well, but medium competition. We can sort all these, how to make soup. Again, really trending. So that one I like as well. We have down here, soup recipes, medium competition in that one. Really, we want to target low competition if we're a small channel. The bigger you are, the more competitive search terms you can target. But for us, we want to target the lower competition with the good search volume. How to make soup, I like that one, and I like the winter soup. What we can also do is check out matching terms. Now, related keywords will be things that are similar to what you search for, whereas matching terms will show you exactly the term that you're targeting. So these have winter soup recipe in the title. Winter soup recipe, 6 healthy winter soup recipes. Look at this one then. High competition and sort of average search volume. We don't really want anything like that. But these ones here, clam and winter melon soup recipe, the competition is very low, but the search volume is quite high. Same with this one, winter special kadu soup. Don't know what that is, but that's also something. And this is from Shorts, by the looks of it. So we can get loads of terms here. You can see these. We get loads of terms here and refine our search term if we want to. And we can have tons of ideas out of this. And if we target that winter soup recipe keyword, we can also have winter soup recipe chicken soup, winter soup recipe lentil soup, winter soup recipe minestrone soup. Now we can have a whole playlist of these that targeting that exact term, and we'll destroy the entire homepage of Google by ranking number 1. So you can rerun these searches and refine things and add things as much as you like. But when you finally settle on a keyword, then we're ready to move on a little. Now, one more thing you can also do here is click on questions. Now, there aren't any questions here, but sometimes people will, for example, how to make soup. Soupo. If we click on questions now, we get a whole bunch of questions. How to make chicken soup, how to make tomato soup. So again, massive amount of stuff we can target here. And again, how to make tomato soup, surprisingly, has a decent amount of volume, but low competition. So a decent overall score. Same with this one, how to make prawn soup. Really low competition. So if we target some of this stuff, you could do really well out of these. I'm going to start a cooking channel, I think. Now, something else you can do if you don't have VidIQ is if you go over to Google and you type in how to cook soup, it's going to come up with some results. But what you also have here is people also ask, which will give you how to cook soup step by step. How should soup be cooked? What are the 7 steps to making good soup or making soup? So you've got questions people ask. What you also have, if you scroll down, is you have a bunch of other results here on how to make soup. And you also have this section, people also search for. All of these are giving you ideas of what people search for based around the term that you've put in. Okay, so you can also use Google Trends for the similar thing. But if you put all of these things together, even if you don't have VidIQ, you can do this. But the thing with VidIQ is it's telling you how competitive the search term is. You can't tell from any of this when you look on Google, for example, how competitive the search term is. And what you don't want to do is target a keyword, especially as a small channel, that is highly competitive, and there's massive YouTubers who are going to destroy you, who have exactly the keywords that you're using in their video titles already, and you just have no chance of competing. So that is the difference between using VidIQ and using just the free tools, Google search, YouTube search, and so on. VidIQ is telling you how you can compete with others, or whether you can compete with others. So let's look a bit more at that. So over in Google then, we're going to search for our search term, and we're going to see what pops up. Now, if we open up some of these in separate tabs, and there isn't a great deal, this is the crazy thing, there's not a great deal of competition here. I think, is that the same? Yeah, that's the same lady. And here's a different one. So we take the top 3 to 5 results, and we want to have a look at those results. So let's take a look at the first one. Now, of course, you can watch these videos and see how they do them. We'll come back to that in a minute. But what you can do is you can right click and open the channel page in a new tab. What you can do here is you can click this little icon here with the 3 dots, and you can view trending videos. Now, if the person has targeted exactly the search term you have, which she has targeted similar, we can have a look in here and just check, is the video appearing in her trending videos? Oh yeah, there we go. Look, 5 cozy soups to get you through the end of winter. Okay, so what that's telling us then is that not only is the topic good, but on her channel, this video is trending. It also shows us, which we can see in a different window here. There we go. This was the one. Okay. So what we can see here as well is that this video is an outlier. Now, again, this is VidIQ. The video is an outlier, which means that this video has performed much better on her channel compared to other videos on her channel, 27 times better than the average. Okay. What we can also see here is that the total views for this video have basically just been rising, and they continue to go up. Now, they've flatlined a little bit here, but she's still getting a lot of views on this video. And this is overall views over the complete time. If we click here and go views per hour, what we can see here, and this might be interesting, is you can see that around October and November into December as well, the views per hour on these videos had a huge spike. Now, why would that be? Because it's winter. So obviously these winter videos are dropping off in the summer months, but even in the summer months, she's getting 58 views per hour on this video. In the summer months, 5 views per hour. Here, back into the winter again, you see that the spike is going up again, 84 views per hour. And at the moment, we are on 6 views per hour, between 6 and 8. So what you need to ask yourself as well is, as a small channel, would you be happy with 6 views per hour? I would. I definitely would, because this video is consistently getting views per hour. In fact, it's getting 6.6 views per hour on average. So this video continues to get views. It spikes in the winter, which makes sense for this type of video. So we're approaching that again now, so we might want to start thinking about targeting it. But this shows you what your expectation could be, and would you be happy with this? Now, if you're a massive channel and it's, 1, 0, 1, 1, maybe that's not really that useful to you. But as a small channel, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever views per hour is actually well worthwhile, because if you're attracting people on a consistent basis to these videos, then you're building over time subscribers from that and an audience of people and a core audience that then YouTube knows who to send your stuff out to in the future. So by being really specifically targeting these search terms, you're getting into a specific search criteria that people are actually looking for. You're serving them a decent video then that they want. They're then more likely to be engaged. They're more likely to watch for longer, and they're more likely to go and maybe check out some of your other videos after, and more likely to subscribe because you've given them exactly what they want. So this is why this is so powerful. Now, what we want to be careful of course, is spikes and dips in the views per hour. If we had a huge amount of views right at the start, let's go back to views again. So if this graph was a massive spike of views and then it dropped and just flatlined and just didn't do anything, then we can tell that that's a dead video, because the reason it spiked at first is because her subscribers watched it. But then when it immediately died once her subscribers were done with it and no one else was interested, and it just flatlined. But this video is actually the opposite. This video starts off nice and slow, and it peaks obviously around the winter, and it starts to take off in the winter, and then it starts to slow down again this time of year. But probably if we came back and looked after this winter, we'd see another spike. So make sure the views are not straight down and then along. We really want to see a climbing view count like this, okay? For views per hour, similar thing. We don't want to see big spikes and then drops. In this case, because it's a time-based video, then it's absolutely fine. In fact, this is good. But what we don't want to see in the views per hour, again, is big spikes, because what big spikes normally mean is that YouTube is recommending the video rather than it being searched for. And if that's the case, then if you're targeting it with search in mind, and this particular video has just been pushed, there's no one searching for it. It's just getting pushed. And if those searches are resulting in some views, but then again, a big spike and then a drop off, then people had a look, weren't that interested, and the views died off. So again, the views per hour, you have to think about what it means in relation to what type of video you're looking at. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the YouTube. We're going to get a search term, we're going to copy it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hit CTRL and F on the keyboard, or you can go up here, find here. Whichever way you do it, doesn't really matter. We're going to paste in our search term, and we're going to see that there's 2 results. Now, one of those results is our search term being typed into the bar, okay? Let's click through and see what other search terms there are that's going to show us. So here's something about winter soup recipe. Look, that is a short, so I don't care about that. Winter soup recipe is in somebody's description there, and in their title, in fact. Now let's have a look at this then. So 3.15 million subscribers, 50k views 1 year ago. So winter soup recipes, this person has actually targeted it, but they're not really ranking very well for it on this page, as you can see. Let's see why that is. Okay, they've actually got winter soup recipes, not recipe. So it's slightly different, and that difference is enough to make a difference, actually. So what you want to do in this case is you want to see that there's not too many. This person has it twice then. You want to see there's not too many. That's a short. And we've got it obviously over here in the VidIQ search bar. So we've only really found one instance of this search term being used, which is good. If everybody had the exact search term in their title, then, and they were big channels like these ones are, we want to go back and rethink our search term, because we wouldn't be able to compete. But because these people don't have the exact keyword that's being searched for, as we can see it is, then we know that we can target that and have a good chance of ranking higher than these people. So are there any small channels ranking within this then? Let's have a quick look. No, that's not a small one. There don't seem to be any small ones. Now, having small channels ranking above above large channels is a good sign, because obviously people can rank, but we've already established that people aren't using this specific search term, so they're not ranking because they're not using the search term. So if we saw that a smaller channel, I mean, this is a smaller channel, right? She has winter soup recipes in both of her titles here, and she is 500,000 subscribers. Now, if we go down 2.7 million, 177,000, 21 million. So in relation to some of these channels, 1.22 million. So in relation to some of these channels, she is a small channel, and she is number 1 and number 2 on the list here by the looks of it in long form content in winter soup. And she's not using the exact term that we want to target. So we have a good chance of competing with everybody here, even as a small channel, because of that fact that no one's using the exact term. And she's proving that even as a channel half or less the size of many of these, I mean, compared to Gordon Ramsay, she's a nobody, but she's able to rank. I hope you're seeing why this is important. So the next stage is to look at these videos, go into the comments, and we want to look, what do people say here? An Indian here, lately many countries have started using turmeric, blah, 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 blah. So this person's talking about using other ingredients. Might be something interesting. If you've got comments with lots of likes on, for example, like this one here, Moroccan, North African turmeric. Yep, see, the person's talking a lot about that. So there's a discussion here about using turmeric in the recipes. Could be something you could add to target, because people are obviously liking the fact that these people are doing that. Here is 607 likes. It's better not to add onion, garlic and ginger to the pan at the same time. So what you're seeing here is, look, people thanking this person for explaining. So the person that's making the video has made what it looks like some kind of mistake that you could do better. Now, this is absolutely key. If you go through this stuff and you note down all the things that people say and that other people are liking and that people are finding useful, or the problems they're experiencing, or the issues, or what did they get stuck on, or what didn't they understand. If you go through all of this and note that down, you can make a version of these videos, but better, that answers all these questions, that takes into account all these improvements. And so you can make a better video than this one. Now, is there anything else you can add? Do you have a unique story? Do you have a unique perspective? Do you have a family recipe, for example, that's been passed down generations? Do you have something unique to add to this conversation that you can put into your video? So you want to go through all this stuff and see, can you make a better video than this? And by studying all of the competition in these, here's another one. By studying the competition here, again, we can go into the comments and have a look. And we can see, the ones that get a lot of likes, for example, this one, 35, how to store leftovers. You could add that to the end of your video, right? As part of it. So work out, can you make a better video, basically? And I think in this case, the answer is yes, you actually could. Now, if the answer is no, you can't, then you should probably go back and rethink your search term. So basically what I'm telling you to do is combine all of these videos into one super video that addresses everything and adds in all these tips and stuff that people have liked, and addresses all the problems that people have come across that person didn't address in their video. And then you've made a super video that is likely to do really well, especially over time. Okay, so we've got our video idea. We have our research done. What is it we need to do next? We need to optimize our video to fit into search. So the first thing you want to think about is your channel description. Have you fixed that? If you haven't fixed your actual channel description, you want to go in and start inserting keywords into that. You want to make it natural conversation, natural flow, but you want to write, what is your channel about? What does it cover? What does it talk about? If you haven't done that properly, go and do that. And no fluff, no, hi, my name is this, and I live in this place, and don't worry about that. That can come in your videos. What you want in your description is very keyword-centric, very obvious description of what your channel does. So fix that first. The next thing is when we're uploading the video, in our title, what we want to do is we want to have the exact keyword phrase in our title, preferably in the first few words. And then you can have a second section of the title which describes, let's say, what the video is about, what people are going to get. You can have phrases like 2025, the year. You can have best recipe or whatever it is. You can have different phrases, and you want to have the first part with your keywords and the second part with a bit more description. CapCut tutorial, beginner's guide, full course 2025, step by step, for example. So you're confirming the topic, you're confirming what people are going to get, you're showing what the expectations are and that you're going to meet them. Now you want to think about your thumbnail. So you need a decent thumbnail. In this case, I'd want something that made the soup look really good, very, very high quality, nicely staged. But whatever your topic is or whatever your channel's about, you just need to come up with a good thumbnail. And that thumbnail could use the keyword. It doesn't have to. You could. But you want to entice people into the video through your thumbnail and either show them what they're going to get or create some sort of curiosity so they want to click on it and find out how you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Make sure it's clear, and also put it into Thumbs Up TV to check it before you upload it so that you can test the size in all the different places that you need to test it to see that it's readable and understandable on all different devices. What you name the actual file of your video or your thumbnail or whatever is not important. If you think about it like this, YouTube can read text within your video, it can read logos within your video, it can recognize faces and facial expressions, it can recognize your tone of voice and your intonation, it can see the complete script of your video because it transcribes that, so it knows everything you say in your video, it even knows how you say it. It can recognize music, which is why you get copyright strikes if you use copyrighted music. So if it can do all those things, do you think that a thumbnail text or a video, the video file text and the name of it actually matters? It doesn't. Now you've got to name it some things. You may as well name it the same as your keywords, but it's not going to have any effect. It's just going to help you to organize yourself better. Now, when we come on to descriptions then, what you want to do is you want to take your keywords and put it into the description, preferably quite soon into the description. But what you also want to have is use those related keywords to create a well-flowing, structured and organized but conversational description, that you're not just stuffing random keywords in there just because. You want to make it into a free-flowing, properly structured description, but that includes those keywords. Hashtags, you can use them, but only use 3, maybe 5 max, and they have very minimal impact. I wouldn't even worry about it. I would consider more the description of the video and what you have in that. That's what's really important. And of course, if you can put the keywords into your video and related keywords into your video script, that's also not going to be a bad thing, because it's another place that YouTube's going to read all that information from and know where to send your video. And then of course we have timestamps. If you timestamp your video using keywords to describe the different points of your video, then that's really going to help as well, because YouTube can read all of those as well, and they also end up in your description. So what we're trying to do here then, by targeting things in this way, is we are trying to retain viewers, we're trying to improve click-through rates, the amount of watch time we have, the engagement, the likes, the comments, and the subscribes, of course. And we're doing all that in order to give ourselves a boost in the algorithm. But because we're specifically targeting something so focused, we're really getting that engagement higher because of that. Now, what we don't want to do is spam loads of stuff like tags and stuff. We don't want to just insert a random list of keywords into our description, because that is against YouTube's terms and conditions and it will look bad. And we don't want to make things too robotic. You need to add something in. If you've got your keywords in the first part of your title, add something a little bit more conversational or helpful, or meet the expectations of what the viewer is going to get in the second part of the title. And people talk about backlinks. Used to be a thing where you go to another website and you insert a link to your YouTube video, so that YouTube or Google in general is gathering all these links and saying, oh, there's all these links to this particular content. It must be popular, or it must mean it's useful. That doesn't work anymore. That's not a thing. YouTube wants people on their platform, finding stuff on their platform, staying on their platform, watching on their platform, engaging on their platform, and not leaving. Yes, if you have a Facebook page of some sort and you want to post a recipe video, let's say, on there that that some people will be interested in and might drive traffic towards your YouTube channel, sure, you can use that. But it's not a priority. It's not something you need to worry about. If you have other sources, other social media or whatever, you can drive traffic to your YouTube channel, then sure, do it. But don't go overboard trying to worry about it, because it's just not that important. And never buy fake subscriptions, likes, any of that sort of stuff to try and drive traffic towards your channel into your videos. Search will do that for you. You don't need paid or fake views or anything like that. So look, search, there's no guarantee, but you can see that I've shown you my own video ranking #1 in YouTube search for the search term that I searched or I targeted. So I think, if nothing else, that should have proved that this works. But there's no guarantees. Search is not just going to make you have a viral video out of nowhere. Could happen, but it's just as likely in any other form of YouTube, browse, homepage, recommended, whatever. Search isn't a magic bullet that's going to catapult your channel. But what it will do is that, remember the fishing hooks, it will get people, targeted people, to your channel who are looking for exactly what you're providing them. And that will then create much more loyalty and engagement, which will then create more subscribers, which will then create a base for YouTube to send your videos out to browse and suggested and so on in a much more effective way. Now, of course, you can target browse, suggested, and search at the same time if the video allows it and is relevant enough. You could create let's say, a chicken soup recipe video using the keywords, but also with your thumbnail and your title, for example, you could pull people in by saying healthiest soup recipe on earth, for example, or whatever. So you can create a video that targets multiple things in one. But if nothing else, I think if you focus on search and find videos that you can make within your niche that are search friendly, it will do you a lot of good. Now, hopefully that's given you some video ideas. If it has, you're going to need a way to organize those video ideas. So check out this video here, where I show you how I organize all of my video ideas, all my content for free. And it also includes a free template you can download. So go and check that out now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.